Skeleton Key, welcome back to my channel. And I am doing the BookList Backlist Readathon this week. And so I've started on one of the books for it. Or actually, no, I've started on two of the books for it so far. There are 5 prompts. I mean, you don't have to do the prompts, but I like to at least try to do the prompts. I rarely succeed at doing all of the prompts for a readathon, but one of the prompts is for a book that has been catching dust. And so I decided definitely let's go with a physical book for that. And this I have had for a very long time. This has been sitting on my shelves since at least 2010. I'm sure before that I'd have to look up exactly when I got this. But it is He Dead? And this is a play. And it's a pretty short play, as plays go. But it's a comedy by Mark Twain. It was discovered long after his death, and it was adapted by David Ives, and he apparently made quite a few changes to it to make it work for modern audiences. I have seen it, and there are pages in here, there are scenes in here that I have read multiple times, running lines, but I've never actually read the whole thing just straight through. So that is on the list. Then the other book that I have started is called Fresh Ink, and it is an anthology of diverse voices in YA fiction, and it is edited by Lamar Giles. And I'm a little over halfway through that one now, but that is for the telemagenta on the cover. And I was gonna show you the cover, pull it up on my emergency phone, but my emergency phone is like a Nexus 6P, and it apparently doesn't, my book apps like Goodreads and Kindle and things like that don't work on it anymore. It just spins, and it's like, okay, well, we'll not do that tonight. Hopefully I can pull up the cover and I can show you the telemagenta. Another audiobook that I'm listening to, also from the audiobook sync downloads that I got a couple years ago. Those are the 2020 downloads. That is the BRONTE something? Oh gosh, now I've forgotten. The BRONTE Project? The BRONTE something, and I've forgotten the author's name too. But the title is in script. It's a script font. So that's one of the prompts. And then one of the prompts is to read something by your favorite author. My favorite author is Agatha Christie, and I've read almost everything she's written. And right now I'm doing a reread in publication order. So the few things that I have not read yet, I'm not ready to read them, so I can't use that. So I'm going with another childhood favorite of mine, and that is Richard Peck, and this is Fair Weather, which I don't know exactly how long I've had this book, but I long enough ago that I don't even remember buying it. And then the last prompt is to read a 5-star prediction, and right now I've only got 2 5-star predictions that I'm working on, and one of them I only recently acquired, but I have had this one an unconscionably long amount of time. And technically, I guess I could count this for favorite author, because everything I've read by Martha Wells I've absolutely loved. Granted, it was all Murderbot stuff, but I love Murderbot. And this is the novel in the Murderbot Diaries. So I've been wanting to read this for a very long time. That's where I am. So the week, this is Friday actually. I started on this a couple days ago, and it's now Friday. So this ends on Sunday. So I just have this weekend. So I'm not going to get through all 5 of these. I hope to at least get started on this, and also on the Bronte one, but the only ones I really have a chance of finishing, in addition to Fresh Ink, are Fairweather and Is He Dead? But I'll keep you posted. So it occurs to me that for BookList Backlist week, all day Monday I was driving, so I couldn't read. I mean, like, pretty much all day. Maybe it's cheating, but I figure the goal of the readathon is to get through your backlist, and I'm almost there on this book, so I'm giving myself another day to finish Fairweather. Okay, so I finally just fired up my laptop, and hopefully you can kind of see. It's a little pixelated here. That bright pink is... okay, not so much that bright pink, but the pink of the text, I'd say, is probably the closest to telemagenta that I have on my TBR. So I'm using this for telemagenta. I mean, like any anthology, it's gonna be kind of hit or miss. Very rarely do I read an anthology where it's like, wow, I really like all of these stories. I mean, it does happen, but there were a few of these, and also consider that this is for a YA audience, and there was a lot of stuff that I was just like, I have no idea what that means, and that's okay, because I am not the audience for this. But a lot of the stories I was really impressed with. I thought they were really good stories. They sort of ran the gamut from, like, just plain old historical fiction to steampunk to fantasy to just contemporary romance kind of thing. Some are nerdier than others. But oh, there's a lot of dust on that screen. Sorry. So I did finish Fairweather. So I ended up using that for both By Your Favorite Author, Richard Peck. So that is this book right here. Richard Peck is the celebrated author of more than 25 novels, has won the prestigious Margaret A. Edwards Award for Lifetime Achievement in Young Adult Literature. Having grown up in Decatur, Illinois, he has returned to the Midwest in many of his novels, most notably Fairweather. He wrote the Blossom Culp books, which I absolutely devoured, except for the last one, which I should read. For other challenges, I included this as middle grade. It's the older end of middle grade, or maybe the younger end of young adult, but it's, I don't know, the tone is a little bit of a middle grade tone. The main character is 13 years old, and so that's right on that edge there. She has a younger brother. He's age 7, and an older sister, Lottie, who is 17. They live in rural Illinois, Christian County, which I believe is where Decatur is. This was not what I was expecting. For some reason, I was expecting more of like a mystery adventure kind of thing, sort of a Trixie Belden sort of vibe, and it was very much not. It was very just historical. There was amusing stuff. There was, some hijinks, and the dog getting up to some stuff, the little boy getting up to some stuff, and there's some romance with the older sister, and so there's I mean, nothing. I wouldn't consider it YA romance at all, because the main character is, there's no romance plot with her, so it had a very middle grade vibe to it. But it was a lot of the book was, I used it as a Chicago setting, but a lot of the book is set in their on their homestead in rural Christian County, Illinois, and it's a wonderful depiction of farm life in this is 1893. I'm wanting to say this is 1893, and I mean, I'm familiar with farm life from the mid 20th century, and in rural Missouri, not a lot changed between 1893 and 1973 or so thereabouts. So, so a lot of it was kind of familiar to me, although I didn't actually live on the farm. We lived in town, but the family farm was out in the boonies, and I spent a lot of time there. So yeah, I learned to drive on a John Deere 4020, which they did not have in 1893. So, the whole, and I've been to a World's Fair, and, the concept of going to an exhibition like this, and of course the menfolk going off to look at the farm machinery and the livestock, and the womenfolk going to the ladies building to look at the domestic arts exhibits. Yeah, that in the 70s and 80s that was still very much a thing. Of course, I was in 4-H, so um so yeah. But yeah, so it does start off a lot with, kind of setting the tone for who these people are and what their roots are and everything. But the kids have this aunt in Chicago who apparently married some wealthy old dude, and he died, and now she's lonely, and so invites these kids that she's never met to go to the fair. So there's this great, you can tell Peck did a lot of research, because there are some very detailed descriptions of the things at the fair. And I still haven't read Devil in the White City, so this was all kind of new to me as far as details. I mean, I've known about this exhibition, this World's Fair, but I've never really known much about specific things, specific exhibits and performers and, special guests. So that was nice. And and the big Ferris wheel figures in, and there's pictures throughout. He has actual pictures, because he has Rosie, the main character, writing home to describe what they've seen at the fair, and so it's got these picture postcards that, so that's an actual picture from the fair, and, then this postcard. And then, of course, it touches on the Buffalo Bill thing exhibit that's not actually part of the fair, it's just in conjunction with it. And Lillian Russell, and I thought this was fun, this was engaging. It was a very nice light read. Nothing bad happens to anybody. There's some awkward moments, but this was just a really nice, pleasant read, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I've shown you the telemagenta on the cover, or the bright pink on the cover of Fresh Ink, edited by Lamar Giles, and I would recommend that too. It's definitely YA. It's not really a middle grade book at all. That is more of a YA read. I would recommend that if you've got any teenagers in your life who are looking for just a nice collection, a nice sampler of short stories. And then there's one that was actually illustrated, and apparently in some editions of the audiobook there's also like a PDF attached to it that you can open and look at the illustrations. If I have that, I don't know how to open it, so I feel like I kind of missed out on that. So if you do are able to get a hold of this, do try to get a copy that has the attached illustrations. The other prompt that I used Fairweather for is has been collecting dust, and I had been planning to finish Is He Dead by Mark Twain, which would also have worked for a favorite author. I've read a lot of Twain. I'm from Missouri, so Twain kind of rules. I love Mark Twain. I know he's kind of problematic in some ways. I think he's less problematic than a lot of people make him out to be, but I don't know, that could just be me kind of projecting. I'm not a Twain scholar, so I really can't speak with any depth or expertise on the subject, just what I, as a reader, feel and think. But I love Twain. But I did not finish Is He Dead? And I did take the extra day to make up for my travel day, and I did finish Fair Weather. If you've been watching my videos, it's been on my shelf for a while, even before I started posting it as, yeah, this is on my TBR this month. It's on my TBR again this month. And yeah, I really want to get this book read this month. And it's been on my TBR for a long time. And I'm glad I read it. And I'm glad I listened to Fresh Ink. And the other two BookList Backlist prompts that I did not finish, that is a 5-star prediction, which I was planning to read Network Effect for. I still want to read Network Effect. It's still a 5-star prediction. And it has a scripted font for the title, and I had chosen the Bronte plot, which probably also would have counted for Telemagenta, because it has a pink on the cover. But that's what I've got for the BookList Backlist 2022 Readathon. And I had a great time, and I hope y'all do this again next year. In the meantime, please like and subscribe, and see you around.